Light your home's exterior, open your garage door, and choose a welcome scene of lights, climate, music, even video. Or depending on the time of day and weather. Your shades drop. Your climate control system goes into eco mode, and all you did was to receive a text that this was complete. It's here now. Connected living, thanks to just one touch. Your total solution for smart home and office. TV installation anywhere. Music everywhere. Home theater design. Security cameras. Climate and lighting control systems, and much, much more. Control everything in your home or office from anywhere with just one touch. Exclusively at Video and Audio Center.
Hi, I'm Joseph, owner of Just One Touch. We design audio-video systems for your home. You do it for your office. We can design and build your state-of-the-art home automation or home theater.
Just One Touch does it all. Inside every Video and Audio Centers. On the internet, JustOneTouch.com.
Call our hotline 310-899-2929 or JustOneTouch.com. Need an accident attorney by your side? All you got
Just get out.
is call the accident guys.
All right, let's get traffic now. It's 8:55 and Rick's next.
Yeah, they finally cleared this wreck in Downey at 5 South before Paramount was here for a long time in Middle Lane. They got it off of the freeway. Traffic is still recovering from Washington. You're going to be slow and go down to about the 605 freeway, but it's definitely thinning out. Looks better than it did about 5 minutes ago. Sherman Oaks 405 north before Ventura Boulevard. So we had a pickup truck spin out, broken axle, still stuck there in the slow lane. It's a bit sluggish from Mulholland. And then we've got all the closures on the southbound side. Skirball Center off-ramp is closed. Getty Center, the Sunset Boulevard, Wilshire Boulevard, Santa Monica Boulevard, and Olympic off-ramp all shut down because of the fire. They've also got the Getty Center off-ramp shut down on the northbound side. So beware if you're going to go through that Sepulveda Pass. In Boyle Heights, the 5 south from the 60 to Indiana Street. Slow lane is closed. They're doing some guardrail repair there. That's slowing you down as you come out of the East LA interchange. SoCal's only reliable traffic reports every 10 minutes on the 5s from the Downey Hyundai 24-hour traffic center.
I got live to the Palisades fire in just a few minutes. Also waiting on this news conference from the city officials, from Mayor Bass, and we'll have that set for 9 o'clock whenever it happens. We'll be right here. It's KNX News. That's the wrong button. But you know what? Live right here you go.
KNX News says thank you.
Hi, this is Kay Marie from Altadena. I would like to thank Edgar McGregor. He is our Altadena weather and climate meteorologist who is currently studying to be a meteorologist. I want to thank him for giving us very good, up-to-date information that really helps all of us in Altadena who are part of the group be aware of the current weather patterns that were occurring prior to the fire. Everyone in Altadena appreciates it.
To tell us who you want to thank, call 844-KNX News.
No! They're breaking our stucco! Is there no better way to install new windows?
Hi, I'm Aaron, founder of California Deluxe Windows. We custom fit every window and door to your home's exact measurements. Our installation technique is so heavenly. We do not break your stuff.
Are you my guardian parent?
Amen to that. Your house could be covered with potato chips and one.
Custom fit, no broken stucco. Potato chips?
Right now, get 30% off your entire order of custom fit home windows and doors. Heaven. Call California Deluxe Windows. 800-910-8600. 800-910-8600. That's 800-910-8600. Or go to CaliforniaDeluxeWindows.com. Certain terms and conditions apply. CSLB number 774518.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call Grainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
What's better than one win? 3 wins. With Straight Savings, you keep your own phone, get one line for only $25 a month with real unlimited data, and get rewarded with a $200 phone credit after 12 months. It's a win-win-win. Head to Walmart or visit StraightTalk.com today. Switch to Straight Talk. Less dollars, more cents. The Street Savings Plan enrollment requires compatible unlocked device and new line of service. Bonus device credit requires 12 months of active service. All forensic eligibility requirements are no longer met. Taxes and fees apply. For network management practices, see Straight Talk's terms and conditions.
I joined the military for my kid and his mom. I miss my son a lot. One of the things with the military is tobacco. That's how a lot of people try to deal with mental issues. Everyone is taking it constantly. After my first hit wave, I was look like that. Once I got back home from my deployment, I called my son trying to get my baby. That was it. I had to quit.
Californians are fading big tobacco. You can too. For free support, text Kick Nicotine to 66819 today.
What was that? That is Business Phone Boots with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs. You sound very Ooma has everything they need to run their business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conference. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees. Ooh, nice. Find your business guy at ooma.com/radio.
This is KNX FM in HD, Los Angeles.
Southern California's news is KNX News 97.1 FM.
Fire disaster in Southern California. Special coverage on KNX News 97.1 FM.
9 o'clock, Mike Simpson and Elsa Ramon standing by for another news conference. We heard from the county. Now we're going to hear from the city. When that gets going, we'll be live right here. 19,000 acres have flared up again there on the south side of Mandeville Canyon. Near some homes, really, really close to homes off West Ridge, but the water drops look to knock a lot of that out. Some of the larger areas of smoke we can see now coming from over the Mountain Gate Country Club. We're on the Encino side of this. It's a long stretch. Our John Baird has been watching, covering, talking to the fire officials. Let's go to him live. John?
Well, this fire's only 11% contained, and they've been hammering away from the air all night long. In fact, in the news conference, Todd Hopkins, who's with the management team for the Palisades fire, talked about the fact that they brought in 100 engines. They surged them into the area last night for fire suppression and defending homes. They brought in 6 night-flying helicopters that were up all night, knocking, dropping water here on the flames. They said the fire, though, did grow by about 1,000 acres last night in the Mandeville Canyon area. They also said the early estimates, 5,316 structures have been destroyed, but by that they're counting outbuildings, RVs, and vehicles as well.
Inspection teams have been in the field surveying properties. As of this morning, it's confirmed 426 homes have been destroyed. We still have over 105,000 citizens that have been evacuated. There is a fire weather watch being issued for the next 72 hours. And tonight, there will be a community meeting at Calvary Westlake Church at 6:30 p.m. tonight. The address for the meeting is 5495 Via Rocas in Westlake Village.
But officials are concerned about the fire continuing to move. They're worried about it possibly moving here into Brentwood and Encino, and maybe even crossing the 405 into Bel Air. I was told they're doing everything possible to prevent that from happening, and they're bringing in even more air resources. Also, a couple other things they mentioned at the news conference that were really interesting. They talked about the fact that the areas like the Palisades fire and Eaton fire have mandatory evacuation areas and curfews in effect starting at 6 o'clock at night, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. They say that anyone caught in the area unauthorized will actually go to jail. And the sheriff talked about the fact that they're running escorts into the evacuated areas so people can get medicines and pets. But, we've got all these people, thousands of them, who are itching to get in to see their homes. I don't know how much they're going to be able to accommodate all these people. I don't know if that's possible, but they did say something during the Q&A about contacting the Family Assistance Center if you need to go in. But again, that might be the only option right now of getting in there to see their homes. Mike?
All right, John, I know you've been watching some of what we've been watching earlier. When the homes on the south side of this got really close to some of these flames, or I guess vice versa, the other way around. But there was an incredible amount of water drops. We were in that press conference. I mean, these helicopters were going over that Encino Reservoir and just back and forth In terms of what you can see from your kind of vantage point, it looks like that south side's doing a lot better, and now it's just kind of what we'll call the middle portion, right? Which is kind of over the country club, right? This would be Mountain Gate Country Club up in the hills of Mandible Canyon, above that kind of portion. You know, from the 405 looking up.
Right, and I'm just down the hill a little bit from the country club. I moved down so I could talk to you guys. But basically, I've been watching this all morning long. It's actually a beautiful sight looking across that valley there. You see all these orange flames, this huge plume of smoke, but they've been hitting it right and left for hours, in fact, all night long. And I've had helicopters flying over me every 2 minutes. So they're continuing to try to knock this down. They're going to try to do everything they can to keep it out of these populated areas here on the east side.
John Barrett, thanks. Palisades Fire. We'll check on some of our other fires here in the district traffic in just a little bit. But also, they were talking at that press conference about the Eden fire, yeah?
Yes, LA County Fire gave an update on both of those big fires burning. Fire Chief Anthony Maroney says the Eaton fire burned more than 14,000 acres, and right now it is 15% contained.
We have 2,832 personnel assigned to the incident, and it is static at this time. Elevated to critical fire weather conditions are predicted to continue through Wednesday.
And he went on to say the continued winds will keep the fire threats pretty high, so they have to really put in a lot of effort in this window they have of the winds dying down and this lull they have before the winds start coming back. Maroney also thanked firefighters and first responders for their tireless efforts.
And finally, to our residents, please rest assured that we will continue to battle these wildfires until they are fully contained.
LA County Supervisor Catherine Barger says resources are available to people who have lost their homes right now.
I want to mention an important resource for those who've been displaced and in need to begin the claims process. All our LA County libraries and their staff are available for displaced residents to use computers and internet access to complete the FEMA and assessor claim forms. We have also engaged the assessor to provide a warm line for the library to get questions quickly answered and resolved for residents.
That was LA County Supervisor Catherine Barger at the press conference we just listened to. LA County Office of Emergency Management is offering an update on those evacuation alerts that were sent out by mistake earlier this week, catching people off guard. Here's Director Kevin McDowell.
We believed that the problem occurred in the software system that accidentally blasted this alert countywide rather than to the targeted recipients who needed to get the information to safely prepare to evacuate. As we drill down with our vendor to establish the root cause and apply corrective measures, we're in the immediate step of changing our alert and notification system to partner with the California Governor's Office of Emergency Services and the State Alert and Warning Center.
He says it's believed the problems happened as cell towers came back online. The outdated alerts were held in memory and they weren't flushed out. They were sent out when the towers reset. McGowan called the situation frustrating and unacceptable.
We'll get you a traffic report now, and then we're waiting this news conference. It should get started soon. This is from the city now, since we heard from the county there. But let's go over to Rick Smith.
Brand new two-car smash up in mid-city LA 10 West before Fairfax. The left lane is blocked. You're already slow from about La Brea. Sherman Oaks 405 north before Ventura Boulevard. Still trying to get a pickup truck with broken axle out of the slow lane there. That's sluggish from about Mulholland. If you're going to head southbound into the Sepulveda Pass, now they have the Sepulveda off-ramp, Skirball off-ramp, Getty Center, and Sunset Boulevard, Wilshire Boulevard, Santa Monica Boulevard, and Olympic off-ramps shut down. So pretty much that whole stretch of the 405, you can't get onto the freeway. You can take Sepulveda if you need to get somewhere.
How many players?
And then northbound,
I'm not sure.
you have to get Center off-ramp shut down as well. If you're on the 55 north before the 91 in the city of Orange, that's where we've got reports of a car fire there on the right shoulder, and then in Westminster 405 south past Valley View, car ran into the wall there on the right shoulder. SoCal's only reliable traffic reports every 10 minutes on the 5s from the Denver Hyundai 24-hour traffic center.
But it's not, as of yet, a really windy day, and that's great news. We are going to get some more, though. There's a couple different rounds we're looking at. So back to the Weather Channel meteorologist, Jeff Eno. Jeff?
Yes, sir. Thanks, Mike. We will do another round of the gusty winds, like you said. And there are a couple of wind advisories already in effect now. This is for the Santa Lucia Mountains, 10 p.m. tonight till 10 a.m. on Sunday. And then for the Santa Clarita Valley, Central Ventura County Mountains, Southern and Southeastern Ventura County Mountains, the Malibu Coast, Eastern Santa Monica Mountains, Lake area, Calabasas and Agora Hills, to San Fernando Valley. That goes until 2 p.m. Sunday. And then also looking at the wind advisory that's up, that will be replaced at 6 p.m. tonight by a high wind warning, and that's for the Santa Susana Mountains, San Gabriel Mountains, the 14 corridor, and anything that we're seeing that has the high wind watches or fire weather watches, any of that sort really start to howl. And it looks like we will get a little bit of a brief reprieve Sunday night, but then that next round comes in Monday night into Wednesday, and it looks like the peak for these next rounds of winds into the upcoming work week will be on Tuesday.
When we when we talk about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I know we'll get some better time once we get in there, but there was a particularly dangerous situation. Are we still at Santa Ana event? Although, look, we know too what a moderate Santa Ana can do when there's a fire.
Yeah, and especially because everything's active, everything is just a powder keg, so to speak, and plenty of embers around. I'm seeing some of the discussions maybe running up to some of the more wind-prone areas up to 70 miles per hour, and then down, a little bit less as far as the wind gusts go from there. But I haven't, and more than likely the National Weather Service, they won't obviously issue one of those PDS warnings until it gets closer to the event. And same story with why they keep with fire weather watches instead of upgrading and going ahead to a red flag warning, which there are plenty of those around now. But I'm seeing some of the gusts on the higher end, maybe around 70 miles per hour, but hopefully nothing like, obviously, that we saw in this last week.
Yeah, all right, Jeff Eno, Weather Channel. Jeff, thanks so much. Still standing by for the press conference from the city officials. This will be Mayor Bass, and of course lots of questions about the DWP and the reservoir, and also what the fire chief was saying last night in this long closed-door meeting that they had, because the fire chief started leveling some criticism at the mayor about those budget cuts and all that reporting that we've been going through this morning. So when they step up to that podium, you'll hear them here. We'll tell you who's there, too, next to each other or not. But 9/11 here on KNX News.
Looking for the most cash for your rare coins, precious metals, jewelry, or collectibles? Sil DeGenova, CEO of Tangible Investments, has paid up to 5 times more than his so-called competitors. Shop the competition and call him last for a free appraisal. Call 800-885-1400.
No! You're breaking our stucco! Is there no better way to install new windows?
Hi, I'm Aaron, founder of California Deluxe Windows. We custom fit every window and door to your home's exact measurements. Our installation technique is so heavenly. We do not break your stucco.
Are you my guardian, Aaron?
Amen to that. Your house could be covered with potato chips, and we wouldn't crack one.
Custom fit, no broken stucco, potato chips? Right now, get 30% off your entire order of custom fit home windows and doors. Heaven. Call California Deluxe Windows. 800-918-5100. 800-918-5100. That's 800-918-5100. Or go to CaliforniaDeluxeWindows.com. Certain terms and conditions apply. CSLB number 774518.
As they say, one person's personal information is another person's treasure.
Exactly. That's why I use NordVPN every time I surf the web. Features like Threat Protection Pro safeguard devices from phishing websites and disable intrusive ads and traffic. Just check NordVPN.com, grab the deal, and see for yourself. NordVPN. Cybersecurity built for every day.
Attention small business owners needing financing. Swish Funding is providing funds for expansion, inventory, increased overhead, even slow cash flow to small businesses all over America with affordable funding as soon as one business day. And we're ready to help with funding from $10,000 to $2 million. If you've been in business for 1 year or more with a monthly income of at least $25,000, you can get the affordable funding you need with no collateral. Go to swishfunding.com today. That's swishfunding.com.
Remember those termites you saw flying around last year and you thought to yourself, oh, they went away. I hate to break it to you, but they're probably still there. It's Vicki Moore. More likely, they've set up a comfortable colony at your place to dine indefinitely, doing damage until you take action. So here's where you start, with Pacific Coast Termite. It's a new year, you've got a clean slate, call them Pacific Coast Termite. When you do, they'll send someone to your home or business to do a free and thorough inspection. That's when you really know what's happening. Do you have termites? How bad is the problem? And what do you need to do about them? Pacific Coast Termite is no tent, no move out. They use orange oil and Altracet. They don't use poisonous gas. We didn't even have to leave our home for the treatment. It was so convenient and effective. Call them today. 800-PACIFIC. That's the number, 800-PACIFIC. Online, PacificCoastTermite.com. If you go with Pacific Coast Termite, you get 10% off and that 2-year warranty. PacificCoastTermite.com. Some restrictions apply.
Oh, no. Your car's acting up? Strange noises under the hood? Try Tinker DIY, your ultimate car problem-solving app. Instantly connect with car mechanic experts via video chat and start tinkering right away. Save money, save time, and diagnose issues quickly with Tinker. Stuck on a car problem? Tinker's got your back. Download Tinker on the Apple App Store and Google Play. Tinker, where car problems meet match.
Good morning, 9:15. Mike Simpson, Elsa Ramon. Palisades fire really moving towards Brentwood earlier. Some of these homes over the hills near Mandeville Canyon. Looks like they've stopped most of that, at least from getting right into these houses. It was great work with all these water drops. Crews are there for structure protection. Still a lot burning up there, though. You can see the smoke from all across the valley. You can see it from LAX. You name it. You can see it from the 405. We'll get over to traffic now. Also standing by for this news conference from the city. Whenever it gets going, you'll hear it live here. But traffic now and Rick Smith.
And speaking of that, 405 through the Sepulveda Pass, because of the fire, they've got pretty much all the off-ramps shut down through the Sepulveda Pass, starting with the Sepulveda Boulevard off-ramp all the way down to Olympic. All of those off-ramps are shut down. Northbound, the Getty Center off-ramp is shut down. You can take Sepulveda to get around that. If you want to avoid this altogether, taking the 101 South looks really good right now. If you're headed northbound on that 405 in Sherman Oaks, it's going to be before Ventura Boulevard. They're still trying to get a wreck out of the slow lane there. A little bit sluggish there from...
Rick, we're going to jump in here because we've got the mayor news conference starting, so let's take you over to the City Ops Center. Here's Mayor Bass.
Everybody, as we continue to go through this crisis, this emergency. Here with us today, Fire Chief Kristen Crowley, Police Chief Jim McDonald, FEMA Regional Administrator Bob Fenton, District Director Julie Klaus of the Small Business Administration, and for all Angelinos. We are hurting, grief, still in shock and angry, and I am too. The devastation that our city has faced. In spite of the grief, in spite of the anger, in spite of the shock, we have got to stay focused until this time passes, until the fires are out. Now, we need to stay focused, but I will say that when the fires are out, make no mistake, we will have a full accounting of what worked and especially what did not. And I know that this is a top priority of the people that are here behind me, and the firefighters and the first responders that are on the front line. There is nothing that I will not do for the city where I was born and raised. And I know that that goes for all of us. So let me be clear about something. The fire chief and I are focused on fighting these fires and saving lives, and any differences that we might have will be worked out in private, but right now, Our first and most important obligation to Angelenos is to get through this crisis. When the fire is out, there will be time for us to evaluate, but at the same time, we also must begin the recovery effort, and there'll be more to come from that in the next few days. So you saw last night that the fires intensified. The Palisades fire expanded, leading to additional evacuations in Encino and parts of Brentwood. But despite the flare-up, relentless air and ground assaults has led to increased containment of the fire. Emergency shelter is open at the Lanark Regional Recreational Center in Canoga Park. We are updating on lacity.gov with information about assistance and up-to-date evacuations. The Hearst fire is now 76% contained, and the Sunset fire is almost 100% contained. FEMA teams are on the ground providing in-person support, helping Angelenos apply for disaster relief at the Westwood Recreation Center and Richie Valens Park. The Small Business Administration is now offering home disaster loans, business disaster loans, and economic injury disaster loans, which can be applied for at lending.sba.gov. Let me repeat that, lending.sba.gov. And the National Guard is here too, helping relieve our firefighters and secure the perimeter of our evacuation zones, aiding our Los Angeles police officers in having zero tolerance for crime. And let me just say that again, zero tolerance for crime. And so that means if you are bold enough that you are going to go into a fire area and attempt to break in homes or do looting of any type, you will be arrested, you will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. In the grief, in the anger, in the pain that we are going through, the idea that there would be predators out there that would try to take advantage of this situation will not be tolerated. I want the people of Los Angeles to know that your emergency departments are working as hard and as fast as they can for you. We are a city, Los Angeles. We have been through tragedies before. I remember 1992, the civil unrest, when we had to rebuild the city. I remember 1994, the big earthquake. This tragic event will bring us together. We will stay together. We will get through the fires, and then we will rebuild our city, and we will rebuild our city even better. With that, let me introduce our Fire Chief, Kristen Crowley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So, good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. As Mayor Bass has stated, she and I met yesterday to discuss our shared priorities. Number one, first and foremost, we are both focused on our urgent needs to mitigate these devastating wildfires. Our top priority remains saving lives and protecting property. Second, we are committed to working together on community recovery and rebuilding efforts. 3, we are focused on building an LAFD that reflects the needs of the community we serve and which will prepare us for the many challenges ahead of all of us. I will now provide an update on the current fires. Palisades fire. Yesterday evening, there was a significant flare-up on the northeastern boundary of the fire, threatening Mandeville and Sullivan Canyon areas. We immediately redeployed resources from the San Fernando Valley to begin evacuation and extinguishment efforts with a relentless air attack utilizing all available aircraft in the area. I can now report that we have increased the fire's containment from 8% to 11%, with 3,712 personnel that are assigned to this incident. The fire is now at 22,660 acres, with all evacuation orders and warnings. They all remain in place. The Hearst fire, 799 acres, 76% contained. 2 structures were damaged. 305 personnel are assigned to that incident. Sunset Fire, halted, and I want to focus on that word, halted and stopped at 42 acres, 100% contained due to the due diligence of our first responders that are out there doing their work. Currently in the mop-up and patrol status and no active threat to the public. Now looking forward, over the next few days and into the next week, we will be facing another critical weather event. I want to assure the residents within our incredible city of Los Angeles that Mayor Bass, Chief McDonald, and I are in lockstep together, and that we will utilize every single resource at our disposal to ensure public safety and that we holistically protect Angelenos. Thank you, everyone. And next, I have the honor to introduce Police Chief McDonald.
Thank you, Chief, very much. As we navigate this challenging time, our primary focus remains the safety and security of our community. We're committed to protecting lives, safeguarding property, and maintaining order in the areas affected by the fires. Determining the cause of these fires is critical, and to that end, Mayor Bass, Chief Crowley, and I are announcing, in conjunction with our partner agencies, the creation of the Los Angeles Regional Wildfire Investigative Task Force. This task force is made up of local, state, and federal partners designed to investigate the cause of these fires and to see if there's any connection between them. The task force will be made up of, or is made up of, investigators from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, CAL FIRE, the Los Angeles Fire Department Arts and Counterterrorism Section, Los Angeles County Fire Department Arson, Los Angeles Police Department Major Crimes Division, and the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department Arson and Explosives. Just announced this morning, or decided this morning, that the ATF will take over as lead agency on that. They have tremendous resources and expertise and can bring in resources from across the country to do their investigation. So we're very thankful for them and their resources. The LAPD remains on tactical alert, and we have dedicated resources to ensure the safety of our law enforcement and city, state, and federal public safety partners. LAPD officers are actively patrolling these areas around the clock. These efforts include enhanced visibility in evacuation zones and neighborhoods where homes and businesses are vacant. We're deploying marked and unmarked vehicles as well as foot patrols to ensure a strong presence and swift response to any issues that arise. LAPD currently has over 600 officers deployed to these areas with support from Port Police, who provided personnel, and the National Guard, who provided 40 personnel at various posts throughout the Palisades. And we're truly grateful for their support also. We've continued to respond to radio calls with reports of looting, although I'm happy to share that so far none have been substantiated in that fashion. Let me be clear on this, and the Mayor just talked about it. We do have a zero tolerance policy for anybody attempting to exploit this crisis. Looting and other illegal activities will not be tolerated. We've taken significant steps to prevent such behavior. Additional patrols are actively monitoring evacuated areas. We've implemented a system of surveillance and rapid response. LAPD is enforcing a curfew in Los Angeles city areas where mandatory evacuations are still in place. The curfew will run from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Last night we arrested a total of 5 people for crimes involving curfew violation in the Palisades Burn area. I want to remind everybody that unless you are public safety personnel or another type of disaster worker, you have no reason to be at these locations. And if we see you in those areas, you will be subject to arrest. Any person who refuses or willfully neglects to obey the curfew order in effect in any evacuation order zone or evacuation warning zone within the city of Los Angeles will be physically booked for a violation of California Government Code Section 8665. A violation of curfew order is a misdemeanor punishable by a fine and potentially imprisonment for up to 6 months, or both. The countywide curfew order is enforceable in the city of Los Angeles by LAPD officers. Enforcing a curfew is an important tool that will help keep the burn areas and evacuated property secure, keeping looters out. This effort also helps protect public safety personnel who are operating in darkness and in very difficult circumstances. I want to reassure everybody that your safety and security of your property remains our top priority. We understand the stress and uncertainty you are feeling, and we're doing everything in our power to protect what matters to you. I urge you to continue following safety guidelines issued by our emergency management partners and abide by any security checks and screenings. These measures are in place to protect lives and to allow first responders to do their jobs more effectively. In closing, I want to thank our officers who continue to work extended hours in a challenging environment, the National Guard, and all of our partners, particularly our fire partners, for their tireless efforts in responding to this crisis. I also want to express my gratitude to our community for your resilience and your cooperation. We will continue to provide updates as the situation develops and remain steadfast in our mission to protect and serve. Thank you. Please stay safe. Now my honor to introduce FEMA Regional Administrator Bob Fenton. Thanks, Bob. Yep.
Well, let me start out by saying our hearts go out to everyone affected by the wildfires. And as our administrator yesterday said, we're committed to be here to help the community recover as long as it takes. One of the things that's important to us is having a strong relationship with not only the mayor, all communities in the state, and delivering assistance to those communities that have been affected. And we'll continue to make sure that we're here to do that. In addition to providing support on the response side, one of the areas that we're focusing now on our priority is to help those that have been affected by this event. And one of the ways we do that is through our individual assistance program. I want to start off with how to apply to that program. So the easiest way is to go to the website to disasterassistance.gov and apply there. You can also download the FEMA app and use that to apply. Or you can phone our 1-800-621-3362 number to apply for assistance. We've already had over 16,000 applications as of this morning, and we'll continue to take registrations into our system, and we'll be probably reaching out to many of those individuals. Those who have that are insured, I urge you to go ahead and call your insurance company first, as you'll need that information through the registration process with FEMA as you go through that application process. One of the positive things that have happened in some of the changes of our legislation is we can help those that are underinsured, which I suspect will be a significant need here from these fires. FEMA is starting to expedite serious needs assistance. It's a one-time payment that helps survivors with costs associated to disaster-related needs, such as whether it's water, food, infant formula, things you had to purchase as you evacuated, and that's a one-time payment. Other forms of assistance include displacement assistance to help with hotel costs, minimal repairs to your house, other needs assistance, costs for if you have medical bills for this event, the unfortunate funeral costs that will come for some. If you lost your car in this event, you could go ahead and put that in for assistance from FEMA. And then ultimately, as we've seen the great devastation and loss of housing, temporary housing, whether it be through our rental assistance programs or other forms of temporary housing, that we'll work with the city, the county on how to provide those in the best way that meets the needs of the community here. So I'm working closely with the state and county and the city to ensure that we bring not only the full weight of the federal government, but working with community partners to make sure that we bring the resources that are needed to help recover. We are sending staff out to the field to help individuals register for our program. We'll start with going to the shelters and some of the other places, and we'll expand out and help individuals that need help registering. However, I urge you to go to the 3 locations I gave you, register online or register through the 1-800 number, as it's better to register before coming in and asking for extra technical assistance. Ultimately, we'll work with the county and the city to set up local assistance centers where we'll have in-processing centers to help with your application. Lastly, I just want to continue to reiterate, we are here for the long term. We're here to financially support the response costs and to help individuals recover from the fire and have the full weight of the federal government behind me to support any needs that the state or the county or the city has in response to these fires. Thank you.
Next is SBA District Director Julie.
Thank you, Mayor Bass. Thank you to all of our government officials, FEMA, and especially our first responders. Thank you so much for everything you are doing for the community. For those that are affected by these fires, my heart is with you. My team and I live here. We know what the challenges are ahead, and we're here to help you through that recovery process. The SBA's disaster loan programs are open. They've been fully activated, and they are open, and people can apply today. The applications are available for homeowners, for renters, for businesses of all sizes, and for private nonprofits here in LA County. A quick overview of the programs for you. The Disaster Home Loan Program is loans to renters or homeowners to repair or replace disaster-damaged real estate and personal property, and this includes automobiles. Loan maximums are $500,000 for real estate and $100,000 for personal property, and this is for uninsured or otherwise non-compensated losses. Business physical disaster loans are also available for businesses of all sizes to repair or replace their disaster-damaged property, including the real estate, inventory, supplies, machinery, and equipment. Businesses of all sizes and nonprofit organizations are eligible to apply, and the loan maximums are $2 million. Economic injury disaster loans are available to small businesses and nonprofits as a way to provide working capital to help them meet their ordinary and necessary obligations that otherwise could have been met but for this fire. Loan maximums for this program are $2 million. Interest rates are extremely low, under 4%, and in some cases 2.56% for homeowners and renters. We have a 12-month deferment on interest and payments, and we are in the process of setting up some centers, but everyone is absolutely eligible to apply online today. SBA.gov/disaster will take you right to the info page and application. Also SBA.gov, we have banners on our homepage to direct you right to these resources as well. And you may also reach out to our customer assistance line at email box, at disaster customer service at SBA.gov. Again, disaster customer service at SBA.gov. And we also have our cadre of business advisors through small business development centers, women business centers, veteran business outreach centers, and SCORE, who are all over the county with free business assistance ready to support any business concerns you may have, from recovery and rebuilding to applying for any of the assistance we talked about today. Thank you.
This is a news conference from the city officials. Mayor Bass is there, Fire Chief, Police Chief. You heard from FEMA, you heard the Small Business Administration there. Question now about the Palisades fire. If you're getting a view of this at all, the DC-10's in town, a very large air tanker, incredible to see. It's been circling, looking for a place to drop.
Well, you know what? I think that the people in Palisades and in most of the areas have been doing everything they can. They've been responding to the evacuation orders. I think that is critical that they do that. We know that those people who stay behind might not be able to get out. And I think that it's important that people pay attention to that. The good news is that the fires have been slowly being contained. I know that the Palisades area is one of the ones that is the most vulnerable for the winds to continue to spike up. And it's anticipated that the winds will kick up again at the beginning of the week. So having National Guard there, having law enforcement there is going to be very critical, because not only do we have to protect ourselves from the fires, but we also have to make sure that no one goes up there and attempts to loot, attempts to do anything that is inappropriate in the areas. Well, they need to pay attention to what the orders are. You know, in some of the areas they've been told to evacuate. I know that west of the 405, people are supposed to evacuate. I know east of the 405, it's a warning. So I think people need to pay careful attention to what the instructions are. And please, please, please not try to wait out the fires.
This is a question about the meeting that Mayor Bass had with the fire chief yesterday.
Oh my goodness.
Do you agree the fire?
Let me just say that, as you see here, the chief and I are lockstep in our #1 mission. And that mission is to get us past this emergency right now. We want to make sure that we save lives, we save housing, we save businesses, and if there are differences that we have, we will continue to deal with those in private. Thank you. No.
I think that last question is, are you going to fire her? Barely make it out, but it was a no.
Emphatic.
Again, news conference from the city officials.
First of all, I have no idea as to what he means when he says he's getting different answers from different people. But I have to tell you, I have a lot of concerns about every step of what has happened over the last week. Again, we have to stay focused on the #1 mission, which is getting through this crisis, keeping people safe. Examining what happened, I want a full investigation of every level. So I'll follow up with the governor to find out exactly what he means, but I do not know.
Watch them do some more water drops and phosphate drops on the Palisades fire. They moved away from the southern part of Manville Canyon earlier where it was really flared up. Now some other spots. This spot fire's breaking out here and there too, but they've been pounding this thing.
Yes. Yes.
When you say you're in lockstep, Mayor, how can you be sure you're on the same page? How can people be sure after all
Well,
this?
I think, first of all, you have heard it directly from me. Give her an opportunity to repeat it again, that we have one mission, and that is going to be our sole focus. Now, prior to this, the chief and I have always been in regular communication, and we will continue to do that. Chief.
Thank you for that. I stand by my comments this morning, especially in this time of crisis. That #1 priority, with actually Chief McDonald, Madam Mayor, and myself, are all on the same page. And I don't know how to overstate that at this point. That's why we're all here today, is to make sure that the community, the people that we serve, understand exactly where the three of us are. And I think in fact, I know we've clearly articulated that this morning. So thank you for the question.
Are there enough resources for the city to answer demand?
Well, let me just say that not only are there the resources and unlimited resources that the fire department, the police department need right now, we're not going to sit around and look at what we're going to spend on or not. If Chief McDonald calls me and tells me this is what he needs, if Chief Crowley calls me, reimbursement from FEMA is not something that is usual. But it is something that the president agreed to. So I feel confident that whatever support is needed, we will have. I have not heard from the incoming administration. However, I have reached out to some of my Republican colleagues. It is helpful that I serve with many people who now will be going through confirmation, so I'm in touch with my colleagues.
This is a question about other resources.
Great. I received a message from the mayor of Paris, who I got to know, obviously, last summer, extending her concern and condolences. So yes, Mexico, Canada, all of North America coming together to deal with a natural disaster in this area that we have never seen before.
See if we can hear some of this for you. The question seems to be about in the days leading up to this, we knew this was going to be a potentially catastrophic wind event. We know LA is so susceptible to this, it's been so dry. There were some tanks they're talking about in the Palisades area. It's a question about basically pre-positioning things, having those resources, having enough water. We've had a lot of questions about water, hydrants, reservoirs. There was the DWP reservoir that the repairs weren't completed yet in the Palisades area. Watching some more of these water drops as this question continues here. Trying to knock down some of these flames of the Palisades fire that are closer to the Brentwood side. Mountain Gate area, getting close to some homes there.
You know, it's my understanding that that's not the way mutual aid works. But again, there is a long list of issues that need to be examined, dissected, investigated, evaluated. And if there are people who need to be held accountable, they will be. Thank you. Yes.
We have a National Guard for some of the street blocks off. Any effort to further mobilize them?
Again, it's my understanding that that is not the way it works. When I spoke to the governor on Wednesday, it was beginning that process. But because in an event like this, you don't exactly know what's going to happen, but you don't mobilize 1,000 National Guard or 200 National Guard just in case.
Yeah, I was wondering why didn't we do that before? She says you don't do it before.
Well, I mean, you know, I can certainly share my experience at UCLA when we were having all the protests there. And, you know, the idea that we would have 200 police officers that were waiting around to go to a protest in UCLA, that's just not the way you mobilize troops. People are coming from all over the place. Well, you're talking 20, 30 years ago. I can't respond to that. Chief, would you?
Yeah, I mean, this is an unpredictable event. You have predictable wind coming. You don't know how the extent of that wind. You can't predict you're going to have a fire and nothing to this scale. Something like you mentioned the O.J. Simpson case. That's something that at that time, and I was there, it was predictable that the verdict was going to come out date certain. And so you could set up to be able to address whatever the issues were. But with natural disasters, it's a whole different ballgame. Nobody can afford to send people to stand around for what may happen. We have to respond as quickly as we can when the need arises.
Another question about what the fire chief said that the city failed her department. She gave that interview yesterday.
You know, once again, I will say that I have one mission right now, and the two of us, and frankly, all of us here, have one mission, and that's to save lives, to save homes, and to save businesses. That is going to be my focus. Any issues, opinions, differences, whatever I might have, will be dealt with in private. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I think you have an example here. Everybody's standing here. We are absolutely doing everything we can to prepare. Knowing what has happened over the last few days, we will be prepared. Thank you.
Okay, news conference there from the city officials. Heard from the county earlier, the mayor, the fire chief, the police chief are doing their own thing this hour. And basically, it was the unified front. That's the message they wanted to get across after what happened last night. And there were, 3-4 questions about what the fire chief said during a couple different interviews. And one of them with Fox 11, where she very clearly said that the city had failed the department in terms of resources and getting ready for these things and budget cuts. And there was that long closed-door meeting with the mayor last night. And the two of them didn't show up for that press conference last night, but they were there this morning. So the mayor got up there first and said, basically, we're staying focused, and once the fires are out, there's going to be a full accounting of what worked and what did not, in her words. Any differences that we have will be worked out in private. And the chief gave a nod to the meeting yesterday, and then started talking about shared priorities. So basically, we got to handle this now, and the rest will kind of be worked out later. And we heard from Mayor Bass with the last question that she took, saying, well, we're going to sort this out in private. And, there was some talk yesterday about this is not something, if you're going to get rid of someone, that you do during the disaster. Maybe this happens if your job is not safe, it's weeks later. But they wanted people to know, and they were asked pointedly by one of the reporters, after all of this, can we be sure that you're all on the same page? And they repeated it a number of times. The three of us, I mean the police chief too, we're all lockstep. We're all trying to get through what we're dealing with today and what we've been dealing with the last few days, and then also look ahead to more wins that are coming Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
It was pretty clear, though, that all three of them were going to answer the same way. They knew they were going to be asked. Very coordinated. Yes, very coordinated, but they knew they were going to be asked about this dust-up between, the mayor and the fire chief, and they all came out united today saying the same thing every single time. Their obligation is to get people through this crisis, and their first priority here is to make sure people are safe. And so, they were all very much in lockstep, as she said, when it came to answering the questions of the reporters. However, I do appreciate the fact that they tried to get around. If it wasn't her, they were going to ask the chief. And if not the chief,
are you going to fire her? She said no. Right. So, yeah, and when we were listening to the county news conference earlier, it was interesting. They were very pointed in making the idea clear that we are all thanking each other here. We are very on the same page, too. In case there was any indication the city was not, they said it 2 or 3 times at their news earlier on that we're all here together. We're all united.
One thing, though, that is significant, you may or may not agree, Mike, but prior to this morning, the press conference had been more of joint press conferences between the county officials and the city officials, and today they are not. So, nobody asked about that, at least at the point we got out of the press conference here, they got out. But nobody asked about why they are now separate.
Yeah, we'll see if they join up again, I guess, as we get into the next few days. But I think after a controversial night last night, we knew that there were all going to be all these questions, and so they at least broke off because they knew they were going to have to handle this today. We're watching these flames in the Mandeville Canyon area. We were talking earlier kind of about the south side over by Brentwood. There was a real flare-up. This was probably into 7, 8 o'clock, Elsa, and now here we are approaching 10. It's sort of moved on to more of what we'll call it the middle, because this really ranges, it's all along that range of the Santa Monica Mountains, from the Brentwood area over by the Mountain Gates Country Club and then over to Encino. And you heard the mayor talking about this wide evacuation zone on that side of the 405, but kind of where the Mountain Gate Country Club is up in the hills from there. We're seeing a couple things that might be starting to catch. There looks to be a trailer out here and some kind of setup, maybe a work site, and there was a home where some flames were really, really close to earlier. So they're doing what they can with these water drops there, and we've had that flare up. Last night it got really close, and then did it again this morning.
Yeah, what's really helping right now too is the fact that these very large air tankers, the VLATs, are able to drop all of this Phos-Chek, creating a barrier and a line to continue to hold the line and make sure that fire doesn't march forward past that line. And they've been able to get some very significant drops of the Phos-Chek, in addition to all of the water drops that were more specific on some of the spot fires we're seeing ahead of the fire. But
yeah, we started DC-10 circling earlier, which is always a sight to see at these fires.
Never gets old, but it is definitely helping them tremendously get an upper hand right now while the winds are still relatively calm.
Yeah, they're going to try and keep it where it is for obvious reasons, because where it's burning on the ridge, the next road down is Mandeville Canyon Road, as far as we can tell looking at some of these shots, because we can see the Mountain Gate Country Club further on down from that. And by the Country Club, there's a whole row of homes, and then on Mandeville Canyon Road itself, there are also homes. It's not buried yet, but that's where they've been kind of making their stand and painting all these lines. So more of the updates to come. We'll check on the 405 too, since it goes right on through here in just a couple minutes. It's 9:53.
What makes Crystal Geyser Alpine Spring Water different? We always bottle our Alpine Spring Water less than 1.5 miles from the spring source, and all our bottles are made with 50% recycled plastic from our own recycling plants. Crystal Geyser, bottled at the spring source.
Imagine where a sensor recognizes your vehicle, lights your home's exterior, opens your garage door, and cues a welcome scene of lights, climate, music, even video. Or, depending on the time of day and weather, your shades drop. Your climate control system goes into eco mode, and all you did was to receive a text that this was complete. It's here now. Connected living, thanks to just one touch. Your total solution for smart home and office. TV installation anywhere. Music everywhere. Home theater design. Security cameras. Climate and lighting control systems, and much, much more. Control everything in your home or office from anywhere with just one touch. Exclusively at Video and Audio Center.
Hi, I'm Joseph, owner of Just One Touch. We design audio-video systems for your home. We do it for your office. We can design and build your state-of-the-art home automation or home theater.
Just One Touch does it all. Inside every Video and Audio Center store. On the internet, justonetouch.com.
Call our hotline, 310-899-2929, or justonetouch.com.
No! They're breaking our stucco! Is there no better way to install new windows?
Hi, I'm Aaron, founder of California Deluxe Windows. We custom fit every window and door to your